Hi guys, and welcome back to another video from Hound Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to see more. Coming up, Covid round 20 for the NRL. The Parramatta's premiership hopes are hanging by a thread after Sydney Roosters triumphed 28-0 in Mackay. The Roosters scored 5 tries against the Eels in a 28-0 victory. Josh Morris, the returning Josh Morris, Daniel Tupou, Sitilia Tupanoa, Joey Manu and Sam Walker all crossed for tries. The 4th place Eels are only ahead of Roosters on the ladder because of a superior points for difference. But the Eels are out of form and could ultimately finish the regular season as low as 6th, having lost 2 of their past 3 matches and have a tough run-in home to the finals. They play all the top 3 sides, South Sydney, Melbourne and Penrith, over the next 5 weeks, as well as Manly, who are also jostling for a top 4 finish. On the other hand, Roosters revived their premiership hopes with 5 unanswered tries on the night. They drew level with the 4th place Eels on 28 points, but sit back in 5th because of an inferior points difference. Roosters' victory has set up a massive run into the finals as they face the Penrith Panthers next week, followed by matches against Brisbane, St George Illawarra, South Sydney and Canberra. Their tenacity is even more telling given their horrendous injury toll this season, which includes 8 players with season-ending injuries, 3 of whom were forced into retirement. They added another injury to the list in Mackay, with Josh Morris sidelined in the second half with a hamstring injury, which will further deplete their backline stocks. The 34-year-old is the 3rd backline player to be injured in recent weeks after Joseph Solua and Matt Ikivalu ankle injury both went into surgery last week. Eels, without the presence of Mitchell Moses to steer their ship, attack actually fell short on all occasions. It was flat, it was terrible, to be honest. It was one-dimensional, slow, ponderous, and when they did get into attacking periods, their execution was not good enough. We'll look to see if they can mount a different challenge when they come further into the season, further along, if they're able to adapt. But they're sweating on Regan Campbell-Gillard's hamstring injury and Waka Blake's concussion. Coming back. Both were taken from the field in the first half against the Roosters and did not return. So that's what's been going on in their 2 camps. They were nilled, and I know the Parramatta's coach wouldn't be happy, as they are a defensive-minded setup coach. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. But I'm not sure Parramatta will be in and about the finals or the grand final when it comes to the end of the season. So now we're going to have a quick look at the doubleheader that was played at Suncorp Stadium, Brisbane, beginning with the West Tigers hosting the New Zealand Warriors. West Tigers were leading at half-time when David Nufalumo on the 17th minute and Moses Mbaye scored on the 21st minute, with Adam Duehi converting the Nufalumo try. In the second half, though, it was New Zealand Warriors that came to a fore. Tigers, though, were leading throughout the first half, despite losing their rookie sensation Dane Laurie in a 3-man tackle, which I commented about in a previous video. In the second half, Ewan Aitken, Bunty Afoa, and Ewan Aitken again scored 3 tries to give Warriors the lead, and all 3 attempts at goal were all converted by Reece Walsh. Adam Duhihi went over on the 60th minute and converted his own try, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for the Tigers as they went down to the Warriors 18 points to 16. It stops a losing streak for the Warriors that stretches back to 7 games, but it also continues a win-loss record of 1 win in 6 for the West Tigers. In a bottom of the table clash, the Brisbane Broncos recorded their 5th win of the season, beating the North Queensland Cowboys 37 points to 18 in their derby clash at Lang Park. The Broncos scored 6 tries to 3 against the Cowboys, with Contoni Staggs crossing for a double. Staggs proved pivotal in the Broncos' win, with the opening try helping the home side establish a 22 points to 12 lead at half-time. His second try came on the 47th minute, while Jordan Reeke's 4-pointer inside the final 5 minutes iced the win for the Broncos. Jermaine Ezako had a productive evening with the Boots, landing 5 out of 6 conversions, in addition to kicking a penalty goal. Jake Granville, Tom Dearden and Cal Felt scored tries for the Cowboys, who slipped to 14th position in the table, 1 spot ahead of the Broncos. The win helped the 15th place Broncos push ahead to avoid the wooden spoon, with the Bulldogs 6 points behind, with a match against Gold Coast still to play in round 20. So just to recap on the point scorers again, Jermaine Isako scored on the 9th minute, followed by Alexander Glenn on the 14th minute, and Katoni Staggs double on the 21st and 47th minute were for the Broncos, as well as Brodie Croft's 34th minute and Jordan Reeke on the 77th minute. Jake Granville scored on the 19th, while Tom Dearden on the 25th, and Carl Felt on the 57th for the Broncos. Out of the 4 kicks that Scott Drinkwater put over, he scored 2 conversions and 1 penalty, 27th, 40th, and the penalty on the 58th minute. Jermaine Ezako was on the boat again for the Broncos, 5 out of 5 for the goal kicking, with a penalty on the 79th minute. But before that, Tyson Gamble's 1-point field goal cashed in the win for the Broncos.
So as I reported earlier, when it all happened, the NRL closed down for a day, and it was a choice to go behind closed doors at Suncorp Stadium for the remaining 6 games of the round 20 campaign. And we'll go through those games that kicked off on Sunday after a 24-hour postponement. Yet another masterclass from Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell has helped the Rabbitohs to a big 50 points to 14 win over an understrength Dragons outfit at Suncorp Stadium, and the last game of their Sunday night triple header. The Dragons have 4 players serving their 1-match bans for the previous Covid breaches, and a makeshift centre pairing of Junior Mornay and Corey Norman was targeted ruthlessly, while Mitchell simply bullied the defence to the tune of 2 tries and 15 busts, with Walker adding a try and 4 try assists to his own. Broncos bound Adam Reynolds was impressive with a try, 2 assists and 7 goals, while Dragons were simply lacking in direction and experience. It was a one-sided affair in this 50 points to 14 result. The Dragons though looked to have scored in the first minute, but Matt Vega's effort was correctly overturned once the bunker spotted a Norman knock-on in the lead-up, saving the blushes of Jackson Paulo, who spilled a regulation kick. Instead, it was Souths who quickly went into a 2 tries lead, as first Mitchell then Walker were able to isolate rookie centre Amone one-on-one for a 12-0 lead after 15 minutes. Ben Hunt's boot dragged the Red V back into the match. His early grubber caught the South backs out of position for Billy Burns to touch down. Then a low crossfield kick bounced off Walker's fingertip for a grateful Tyrell Fuimano to plant the ball down. He also nailed his third 40-20 of the season to claim a share of the top spot in that category with Manly's Daly Cherry Evans. Souths though weathered that storm and pulled away in the 7th minute before the break of Tani Milne and Jaden Sewer getting through the Dragons' left defence, with the latter held up for an age before Norman before eventually fighting to put the ball on the ground for a 24 points to 10 half-time advantage to the Rabbitohs. The Dragons were able to exert some pressure early into the second half, but produced an awful kick chase that allowed Jackson Paulo to run 40 metres, with the Red V forced to backpedal for the entire set, in which the Souths went the length and Josh Mansour scored at the end of it. Burns slipped a wonderful offload in traffic for Tyrell Sloan to glide his way over the line with 15 minutes remaining, but Souths finished like a steam train. Reynolds produced a chip and chase for himself to score in the 69th minute, then Mitchell bowled half the Dragons team out of his way in a monstrous run that scattered the defence, and allowed Walker to slip a perfect inside mat pass for Jay Arrow to score in the 72nd minute. Keon Kolamatangi crashed over 3 minutes from time, and that man Mitchell carved over in the final minute to round out a dominant win. Milne, Sewer and Forimano will all have nervous waits for their charge sheets after being placed on report for dangerous tackles. Cameron Murray will return from suspension for next Friday's Super Stadium showdown with Parramatta. A welcome return to the team that has been missing Campbell Graham, Liam Knight, Alex Johnson, Benji Marshall and Tavita Tatola. Bennett said, "We'll get 3 or 4 of those players back next week, I hope, and the others will come back in the next few weeks. So only going to strengthen us and make us better." So next we'll look at the Newcastle Knights victory versus the Canberra Raiders. It was an emphatic win, a hat-trick from Ariana to Allah and centre Bradman Best's brilliant comeback from injury propelled the Knights to a 34-24 win over the Raiders in their rescheduled clash at Suncorp Stadium. The match was delayed almost 24 hours, as mentioned, by Queensland's snap Covid lockdown. The Knights seemed to handle the disruption far better, with the challenge to get even greater this week, with only 4 days until they face the Broncos on Thursday night. O'Brien was racing through his last 3 interchanges to get Galen Ponga and the Safiti twins off the field once the results seemed beyond doubt, but admitted this week would have presented fresh challenges. So the Knights were near perfect in attack and defence and raced to an 18 points to nil lead, with Tuala and Best each crossing inside the first 10 minutes. The Knights then had to withstand 4 successive sets on their own line, but celebrated like they scored another try when the Raiders eventually came undone via a Corey Hawaiianara drops ball. They quickly did have another try to celebrate as they marched downfield, and Man latched onto a Jake Clifford bomb to make it 18-0. Clifford put a clearing kick out on the full to invite Raiders to attack again, with Jordan Raupenny finally creating his side's first points as he chimed into the right side to put Harley Smith-Shields over. Best put the exclamation point on a dominant half with a powerful run that sent Tuala over for his second on the stroke of half time and 22 points to 6 lead. Josh Papali'i produced a potent mix of power and footwork to crash through early in the second half before Knights took a penalty goal to restore their 12-point lead. A slick Pongia cutout helped Tuala to his hat-trick in the 57th minute before Pongia burned Hawaiianara on the outside to put the result beyond doubt at 34 points to 12 and earned himself an early mark in the process. Jack Whiten had a forgettable game for most parts, but produced some individual brilliance to set up Hudson Young in the 71st minute before Emery Gula forced his way over on the stroke of half time. Jaden Brearley was rattling by a big shot by Josh Papali in the first half, but passed his HIA to see out the game, but Sebastian Chris failed his first half HIA. Papali and Whitehead were both placed on report for crusher tackles on Jaime Hunt and Sia Soyola for a high shot on Pongia. And straight after the game, Brayley told the reporters that he had no hesitation in backing up in 4 days to face Brisbane, while O'Brien also expected to have halfbacks Mitchell Pearce back from a hamstring injury after the veteran number 7 was close to facing the Raiders. So in this game, the Melbourne Storm played the Penrith Panthers, their closest rivals to the 2021 competition crown, and was a resounding victory for the Storm, creating a franchise record, let's say that, a club record, franchise record, of 16 wins in the process, 16 wins on the bounce. They have also amassed a plus 465 points positive difference in the process. That's points scored to conceded. And they were facing a severely depleted Penrith Panthers, who were on one of their best seasons since winning the entire lot. Harry Grant came off the bench for 50 odd impressive minutes. That finished with a try and Bellamy letting him finish off the contest. Nico Hines, though, wandered off with an ankle injury that proved no major issue, given Ryan Pappenhausen's another extended stint, as he himself returns from an extended concussion layoff. Leading into a much anticipated grand final rematch, the Storm's attack ranked as the best of all time. Penrith's defence is also considered the best of the NRL era. As is the way in 2021, all-out attack won the day in the end. One brilliant defensive effort from Matt Burton stopped an early Storm raid and Jerome Hughes in his tracks when scores were still at an even keel. A similar desperate effort minutes later was matched from Remy Smith, who wriggled and wrestled his way through Burton and onto the scorecard in the 9th minute. A spectacular Hoyt kick from one wing to another by Josh Addo-Carr proved itself inspired, and then some, sitting up exquisitely for Dean Ieremia and a 10-0 lead. A slick right-handed shift from the young winger made a second for him, ensuring Melbourne kept pace with the clock. Panthers never exactly wilted, but their one-out hit-ups made them bugs for Justin Olam's windshield when they came right, then swept to the curb when they swung wide to the left. 18-0 down at the break, Burton breathed life into the Panthers after with some enterprise when he put a boot to ball or simply put his foot down. A rare punt into touch on the full from Hughes saw the wheels wobble ever so slightly. A hefty shot in defence came from co-captain Dale Finucane. Was all it took to get things back on track for Melbourne. Partner Jesse Bromwich backed into the in goal like a Mack truck for a 24 points to nil lead to Melbourne. A welcome back to first grade try for Grant followed, so to a third for Ieremia. Late consolations from Brent Naden and Scott Sorensen were a little more than trivial. Pappenhausen sealed the game with a final second field goal attempt, but equally inconsequential to the result. Given the ways of the world over the last 18 months, locusts and plays can't be ruled out, which at least gives hope to Melbourne's competitors. So in this game it was Titans going for a top 8 position, and they did that with Cronulla yet to play to move up into 7th place. Cronulla play Manly, so that's not a foregone conclusion, and at the end of the round Titans could find themselves staying in 7th place by the end of it. Their halfback Ash Taylor was in the thick of everything to do with the Gold Coast attack today in this 34 points to 6 win. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui spun out of a Corey Allen and Josh Jackson tackle to score near the posts. A David Fafita double movement after busting through 2 tackles could have increased the Titans' lead, but where Fafita failed, Essen Masters succeeded with a great bust by Potuaka, followed by Brian Kelly chasing a Taylor kick to put the Gold Coast 16 points to nil up at a half time. Straight after the second half and midway through the second half, I must say, winger for the Titans Greg Marziu scored an opportunistic try even. Toby Sexton on kicking duty today, and he was 3 from 4 at this point. Taylor's added a try to make it 26, and then Kelly added a second 11 minutes remaining to further blow out the scoreline. Both kicks converted by Sexton to push the scores out to 34 points to nil. Rookie Bulldog Bailey Biondi-Odo continued his impressive start to his career with a late try from dummy half to ensure the team would not be shut out. So the last game of the weekend for the NRL is the Cronulla Sharks versus the Manly Seagulls, and Tom Trbojevic had everyone searching for superlatives once again as he scored his third hat-trick of the season to propel Manly closer towards the top 4 with a 40 points to 22 win over Cronulla. Apart from his tries, Trbojevic tormented the Sharks with 3 line breaks, another 4 line break assists, 3 try assists, 5 offloads, 14 tackle bursts, all on top of running 217 metres. It gave Manly their 12th win of the season, and it took them to 26 points, right on the hammer of the Eels and the Roosters in 4th and 5th spots on 28 points. Cronulla cling on to a top 8 spot, but are now one of 5 teams stuck on 18 competition points, all trying to get a final spot. 3 tries in 6 minutes in the first half appeared to lay the foundations for Manly, but the Sharks fought back with 2 of their own to make it a 6-point ball game at half time, 16 points to 10. But the man that haunts defences and hunts down gaps at every opportunity, Trbojevic, did the damage early in the second half with 11-minute try-scoring spree. After 2 try-saving tackles early by Cronulla, Braden Trindle on Ruben Garrick and Will Kennedy on Jason Saab, it was going to take something spectacular from the Sea Eagles to grab the points. And it came on the 13th minute when Saab contorted himself to get a bouncing ball grounded just inside the sideline chalk. 3 minutes later, and Saab was in for a second, and it was far easier as the Sharks ran out of numbers on the left-hand edge of their defence. It became a problem as the third Manly try, this time to Morgan Harper, came down the same edge. With the game only a quarter old, it was 16-0. Cronulla put the stake in the ground with Kennedy's quick turn of speed and Trindle collecting a ricochet ball to the Sharks back to put them back in the game. In the second half, the Trbojevic treble, all near the uprights, meant it was 18 unanswered points. Garrick's 15th try of the year stretched that to 24. A rush of blood by Toby Rudolph said in an altercation with Garrick after a flop tackle put him in the sin bin and the Sharks were down to 12 men. But against the odds, Kennedy stopped the rot by scoring Cronulla's 3rd try and Trindle their 4th. Then the game evened up at 12 men apiece as Taniela Pasaka tripped Sharks debutant Luke Metcalf and was sent to the sin bin. That was also put on reports, that trip, so it could be a lot worse for that trip from Pasaka. The Sea Eagles can now head into the Storm with their confidence high and believe that they can take down any opponents with their championship #1 in devastating form. So that's it for another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember, like, subscribe and share this video worldwide. Also remember that Just for Fun is just for fun. Please place your answers in the comments below, which one you think it is. It's all for fun at this point. Maybe something in the future, but hey yo. All that I can say in the meantime is thank you again for watching, all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.